Since 2016, my family has clocked an average of 2,000 hours outside or more every year annually. And lots of people wonder how that's even possible. Is it because we live in a really temperate climate? Is it some special magic we have? Well, I'm here to tell you it's neither, and I'd love to share with you some ideas for how to do this in your family and how to prioritize outside time with various ages of kids. So sit down, grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let's spend a couple minutes talking about how we prioritize our outside time as a family. Hi, I am Sarah Ruth, the mama and creator behind Kindle Togetherness at kindletogetherness.com, where we share all things faith-filled adventures, faith-filled homeschooling, and faith-filled homemaking. Today, I am focusing on the faith-filled adventures side of our family, and I'm just going to take a few minutes and share with you how we have achieved so much outdoor time as a family while I'm working, my husband is working, we're homeschooling, and life in general is happening. Plus weather. Anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel. If you have come back for a second video or a third, please make sure you subscribe because obviously we are doing something here and building community, and there's stuff I don't want you to miss. All right, well, our family has actually clocked a minimum of 2,000 hours outside every year since 2015-2016 when we started counting. Now, many of you will already be familiar with Jenny Urich, who is an amazing woman, somebody I absolutely admire, and I've learned so much from her over the years. She is the founder of 1,000 Hours Outside, and it's become a huge international movement, and it just makes my heart soar. I will tell you that the past year or so, we kind of quit counting when we break 1,000 hours, just because we usually break it sometime between May and July. And I know that we're going to continue to live a lifestyle of outdoor time because it's just such a natural part of what we do. But I want to start back at the beginning because interestingly, I did not grow up an outdoor person. And even into early adulthood, it was not my thing. So how does somebody who is like petrified of bugs, loathes snakes, and is so afraid of them suddenly become the mother who has 3 sons and is outside inordinate amounts of time annually? Well, I think it's God, but there are other answers too. And part of our story is that my husband, while we were dating, he is from the area that we're now raising our family in. We're at the base of the Appalachian Mountains in Northeast Georgia, USA. And here we are just surrounded by waterfalls. And when we were dating, he would take me to a new waterfall on every day. I never saw the same waterfall twice. Like, he just took me to new ones. And honestly, it really captured my heart. Like, I was like, wow, God made all this. This is so amazing. And I even wound up at a college in this area that has a waterfall on the campus. And I would go and have my Bible study there and some worship time there. And then I found a waterfall up above the waterfall, and I would go have my Bible study there and my worship time there. And God just began to woo my heart with creation. And I began to notice creation in a way I had never seen it before. And this is long before I had children. Then God sent me to a school right beside the Ocoee River in Tennessee, which also has magnificent nature. And so I spent my summers and any of the warm weather over on the Ocoee River, rafting and enjoying the beauty of what was there. And so, I didn't realize it, but God was preparing me for this season that I'm in now, right? And this is just how he works. But then as a new mother, I was kind of depressed after I had my first son, and I was lonely. I didn't have a big friend group. I started like a Bible study in my house and a mom group in my home. But, my husband was away at work 50, 60 hours a week. I was lonely, and I would find myself walking this lake loop outside with my little baby in the carrier, and I would feel better, you guys. Like, I would go and walk around that lake and hear the birds, and some of the fog and the emotions and the like heaviness that I had. And I didn't realize what postpartum depression was at the time. I didn't know anything about all of that. I was just a new mom figuring things out. But I did notice a correlation between getting that sunshine and being outdoors and my mood stabilizing and shifting. I also noticed that my son was happier outdoors. And so thus began my journey of getting these little fellows, these little boys outside often. And I never really turned back. It just became bigger and more over the years. But eventually, when I was pregnant with my third son in 2015, 2016, I started a chapter of Free Forest School, and we spent 3 to 4 days a week outside hosting those events for families. And I would just pack our lunch and get us out of the house and bring some picture books and plan to spend the whole day outside. And I would not come home until 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. And to be honest with you, that made life easier with little kids. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's so much work to get my kids outdoors. But I found that by being out of the house, my children were happier and more content. They had more to look at and more to do, and I didn't have to structure activities for them or come up with sensory bins or anything like that. Other families wanted to be out there, so immediately they had friends to play with. And then my home actually stayed tidier and needed less cleanup and we needed less things. I mean, there was just so many benefits. As far as the weather was concerned, early on, I read a book, and I should have this written down, but I can't think of the name. Oh, There's No Such Thing as Bad Weather. And it was written from the perspective of a mother who had grown up overseas in the Netherlands where, 65-70% of the year, they have really, really cold weather. It's often dreary and gray. And yet the culture there is that no matter the weather, they get outside because they know it's so important for their health. And they realize the benefits to family, to children. She talks about how even the schools, the children have like 1 to 2 hour long recesses where they, play outdoors and sled and just enjoy what is available to them in nature. And it's typical to see children and families cross-country skiing together, and that the weather doesn't really impact that. Well, through reading her thoughts, I was like, yes, this makes sense. And then I realized, well, and then reading the articles that Free Forest School was putting out at the time and becoming a writer for them, I was like, wow, I need to invest in some things. And so slowly but surely, I began to collect what was needed for my children to really enjoy being outdoors in all weather. And what I learned was, honestly, my kids didn't need much, but I did invest in some good rain suits. And I suggest, if this is a family culture that you want to cultivate, if you want to really, emphasize being outside and you realize the benefits of it, read that book. It's a really good book. It really highlights some of the major differences between American culture, because she began raising her daughters here in the USA, and she just noticed all these interesting differences despite having so much great weather here, and like the differences in that our culture tends to be indoors and not really know how to handle families that want to be outside all the time, and that our access to outside spaces is not as welcoming as that as it is in other places, in other countries. And so I just found that book to be really insightful and help me understand and kind of get out of the Western, American mindset that if it's a rainy day or if it's colder than I want it to be or whatever the, hurdle is, that's not really a good reason. And honestly, learning how to enjoy life when things are difficult or uncomfortable is kind of like one of the primary ways that we become, a functional and like healthy person. So if we think about, life in general, there are going to be uncomfortable moments and seasons. There's going to be times when there are huge hurdles to doing what is right or what is good, or to enjoying a situation or finding happiness and contentment. And if you can't learn to practice that when you're younger, I think it's a big stumbling block as you get older and it's harder to learn. So one of the things that book brought to the forefront, and that I've also learned over time, is that going outside in all weather, in uncomfortable weather or in less preferred weather, actually kind of conditions us to view things a little differently and to realize that even when things aren't ideal, we can still enjoy ourselves. We can overcome the hurdles and we can have fun and be happy and we can be creative problem solvers. So anyway, I want to spend a few moments just talking to you about gear and things that you can have on hand, and also ideas for ways you can add to your outdoor time. So first up, one of the first things I invested in for my kids were really good quality rain suits. And there are so many options out there. Oki is one. I really liked that they had like a one-piece pull-on type system that was like a suit that you zipped up, and that worked really well until my kids outgrew them. And then there's another brand, MK Nordica, and her gear is well made, and it has stood the test of time for my children, and I highly recommend it. But honestly, you can just go on Amazon if you are on a budget and read reviews and find a suit on sale or whatever. But good quality rain gear can be so helpful. Good pair of wellies or galoshes or rain boots, whatever you call them, and then some type of rain suit or good raincoat. Also, I will tell you, young children love umbrellas. Buy them their own umbrella. Yeah, go to the Dollar Tree and get one. Have them save money and get one. They will think it's awesome, and children love it. And one thing my husband and I used to do that my kids just loved was we would take bike rides in the rain, and my kids thought it was so cool. We would splash through puddles and we'd walk in downtown. And so don't underestimate, your children. Don't count out a day outside just because the weather isn't perfect, because we have made some of our best memories riding bikes in the rain or kayaking in the rain. We have had wonderful time as a family in unexpected rainstorms while kayaking, and we've just laughed and had water fights and just really great core memories for all of us. My kids ask all the time, can we go back and do that again? And I'm like, well, I can't determine the weather. But another piece of gear that we've invested in that has really helped with just having a rhythm and a routine of getting outside often is when several years back I purchased good quality backpacks for each of my sons, and I invested in like a handheld pocket microscope and binoculars for them, and a headlamp. And so I got their packs at REI, and they weren't the cheapest packs, but we've had them now for 5 years, and I haven't had to replace anybody's. My eldest son is 10 now, and I did get him a new pack last year just because he kind of outgrew the ones we purchased. It wasn't because I actually passed his down to his littlest brother, because the super small one I bought him when he was 2, he needed something else now. So anyway, one of the things that I've noticed with the outdoor gear is if you purchase the items that are quality, they really will last, and you'll be able to resell them or pass them on to a friend or to other children. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you go super cheap with your outdoor gear, you may pay the price and you may have to purchase again. But if you purchase quality from the beginning and kind of do your research, save your money, make it a gift. Ours was a holiday gift one year, and it was packed full of all the fun stuff, and they loved it. So that was a great purchase because each of my children have their own bag. They can pack it. Once they're 3 or 4, I'm like, go pack your bag. Another thing we invested in was water bottles for everybody. They know how to fill their own water bottle. They know how to get their pack and put a change of clothes in. And it really helps me, because I've trained them to be ready to go. And when I tell them to get their bags, they know right where they are. So some other things that I suggest are invest as a family, or go on Facebook Marketplace or something and find a picnic table. Get your family a picnic table and put it outside somewhere and eat meals outdoors. You'd be amazed at how much fun it is and how much your children will help you bring things out and will enjoy it. Oftentimes, in some of the better weather in the autumn, we do our morning time every morning outside and have breakfast out there. And my boys always anticipate that and really look forward to it. Also, we had a mud kitchen made. And you can make them yourselves really inexpensively. And I've even seen them online now for like $60, $70. You can find them on Facebook Marketplace, but that has been a wonderful investment, having a mud kitchen. And I actually take my boys to thrift stores as a reward. Sometimes in our family economy, they can pay to get a trip to the thrift store with a couple dollars, and they can purchase. We go into the kitchen section and they love buying just the old used kitchen things in there for their mud kitchen. So that will build interest and give your children something to do outside. Another thing is, if you have a picnic table, board games outdoors, card games outside. And then I just mentioned to you already that camping is one way we rack up the hours, but try camping, try it out. Your kids will probably love it. And there is an adjustment, if you've never done it before. Actually, I didn't grow up camping. I went camping when I was like 4 or 5, and then I never went camping again. No experience camping, but I absolutely adore it. And we spend days and days and days outside as a family because we all enjoy camping together. So anyway, those are some of my big tips for getting outdoors. The other one is create a community or find a community. So go online, search for a wild and free group, search for a free forest school group. And if you don't find an outdoor nature co-op that you like or one close enough to you, make one yourself. Invite other families to join you. My eldest is getting older. He is 10 now, 10 and a half. And I have noticed a shift in him. My other two boys still love to run outside on their own. They'll wake up in the morning and immediately head outdoors. But my eldest is becoming a little more of an indoor fellow, except if he knows friends are coming, and then he could spend all day outdoors playing just like he did when he was 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. So building community and kind of having the foresight to do that while your children are young will be an asset to getting them outside as they are older. Because he doesn't skip a beat if friends want to meet us outdoors. It's just when I push him to go outside without friends, that's becoming a little different. But anyway, I hope these are helpful tips. If you have questions about anything I've shared, please feel free to ask. If you have a suggestion, I always say this, but I mean it. If you have a suggestion for a video, I'm reading all of those and writing them down and working on them as I go. So I'm excited to share with you. But if you have a suggestion, put it in the comments. And if you have ideas for how to get your kids outside or how to spend more time outdoors as a family, would you please put it in the comments so others can see, and let's build ourselves a big list of ways we can be healthier and happier and enjoy all the benefits of God's creation. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day with your family, and I will see you next time.